Hello Intuitors, it's Aria here and welcome to the Intuit Cafe. My plan in the weeks and the months ahead is to release a weekly reading by the sign of the zodiac, and in that reading I'll start out with a card spread that will give me like kind of a story, what the situation is, and then I'll be asking what are the blocks, what are the things that are preventing this situation from moving forward. Then at the end of that, you're going to have the opportunity to choose from 4 different action outcomes that might be the possible guidance for you at this time. And this is where I really am excited about giving you the opportunity to learn and hone your own intuition, to pick a reading that will either at that time help you know what's the best course of action to take or what's a course of action to avoid. Another way that you can use the readings at the end is if you're watching it and you're wondering what someone of that sun sign might end up doing at that time, then you can set the intention that whatever reading that you're guided to watch will be the most likely action or outcome that they take at this time, and it can kind of give you some insights on how things might progress in the future. So the way I view divination and utilizing your intuition to find or divine the kinds of information that are brought forth in readings like this is that basically once the reading is created, it's in the collective consciousness to an extent. And it has a specific frequency based on whatever it contains. So whatever frequency you yourself are tuned into at that time is like a certain trajectory. It's the direction that you're headed. And I really believe that as time goes on and you start learning how to tune into your own intuition, you truly will have the opportunity to attract the reading that has the most pertinent information for you at that time. And the same thing also works if you're watching this reading in regards to someone else. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, so this whole scenario really matches up to I know what's happening, but I don't have any control over what actions they take. And then you're asking your higher knowing to show you the reading that has the most likely match to where their frequency is at this time. And that's why you can end up getting a message that will be predictive of their next move. That rather than just saying, here's a general reading for everybody, it's saying, here's a starting point for everyone who's watching. If that starting point doesn't match up for you at this time, then maybe go watch a different sign of the zodiac, maybe your moon or your rising sign. But if it does resonate with you at this time, then you have the opportunity to pick the action or the outcome that are most in tune with where your trajectory is headed based on the frequency you're at. Now, without any further ado, let's get right into today's reading. Wow, Leo, there are a lot of messages for you in this reading today, and it's really quite beautiful. Let me just go ahead and get in and start unpacking it for you. We have the garden, the child, the flowers or bouquet, the road, and the ring. So first of all, the garden and the child talk about a new place, and like a social setting, some kind of new social setting for some of you. You will be in some way engaging with a new group, a new place, or even it could be a new relationship or a new commitment because we have the ring. One other thing that the ring and the garden mean together is actually like an engagement or a proposal of marriage for some of you. That might be something that is being considered, but it's kind of like a new consideration here. It's not something that you've really thought of for very long, or maybe you haven't even thought of it yet, but it will be coming up in a new way soon or something of that in that nature. Not necessarily an engagement of marriage, but it could be even just like someone who you are engaging with, and it is, coming up in a social setting, maybe a meeting, like a date, or, seeing someone, but it is fairly new. Like there's a lot of newness around this. The child and the bouquet are a really beautiful combination. It talks about something like having a lot of happiness, joy, fun, and excitement, or a new creative project, expressing your creativity in a very carefree way, like the way that a child is. For some of you, it could actually even mean a child is involved, a teenager, young person is involved in the situation, but I don't think that's probably the case for most of you. But so there's something really like exciting and new, and a new adventure kind of unfolding here. And a lot of just this feeling like anything is possible. You know how children are when they're about to engage in some kind of new activity and they're so full of enthusiasm. That's kind of how you're feeling right now about this situation and whoever this is with, because we do have the commitment card here. There's some kind of a friendship, relationship, or person that is involved, you know, as well, but it does feel quite new. So the road with the flowers is an interesting combination. If we're just talking about the road, we're talking about a decision that needs to be made, and it's kind of like, you know, left or right, or yes or no, or this way or that way. But when we have the flowers come up, it really talks more about that you can kind of like have your cake and eat it too. You can make this decision here, but if for example, you thought that you were going to have to make a decision between two things, and you thought, well, if I choose for this one, then I don't get anything from over here. But what really could happen is, like, you may be able to have this and you still could have some of whatever this was you thought you would have to leave behind. You know, maybe some of it gets left behind, but some of it doesn't. So you kind of had this combination of you know, what you get to have and what you can leave behind. It's a very beautiful thing in that regard. So it also, the flowers and the road together talk about a return. So something returning to you, and of course it could be something, it somewhat feels new and fresh in some way, but because it's a return, it is like, you know, could be someone from your past that returns, you know, in some way, and there's some kind of commitment or engagement with them in some way. And if it's not a return as in a trip or physical, like, you know, coming back from a trip. It's more of a return of something or someone, and that return has to do with a fresh, new, and much more joyful, creative experience and outlook on things, and also like even making you feel like you want to go out into maybe some of you have, you know, been single for some time, and now it's all of a sudden like, yeah, I feel like I could go out and date again, and I'm feeling like I want to do that. That would be really fun to do. And maybe you're making just a commitment to getting out more, but now instead of just feeling like, oh, I'm just making myself do it, there's joy in it and there's fun. There's a new, fresh perspective, like a real shift in the energy. And this is something I've actually been feeling myself lately, where all of a sudden I even felt like I could just tell something has changed and it's not even spring yet, and I'm kind of feeling like that feeling of spring. So the flowers does suggest too that with the road, that you might be able to now re-engage with some goals that you had, and of course the engagement and commitment come into the play there too. You may have had goals for the future that for a while you put on hold, but you have this new ability to engage with them after a period of maybe some rest and doubt about it, and you weren't real sure about things. Now it's like, yeah, I do feel like I can take this on, and taking it on with relish and excitement, where before it was feeling more like a burden. So the road with the ring, of course, this is making a decision in some way about a commitment, and so for some of you, as you're getting into all of this new energy, this new beautiful place and everything, there does have something come up about a commitment that, and it could be even a different commitment. It may be the same one, or it may be something else, maybe some other commitments. If you're kind of going in this new direction, or you have a return of someone from your past. For some of you, this could be someone just returns from your past, and now you're considering, you know, going in that direction. And so it's also making you reevaluate the things you've been committed to in the past that may need to be changed or shifted in order to make room for a new direction in your life. I do feel again that this concept of the road and flowers saying that you can, you know, kind of like have more, like you might have thought, well, if I engage with this new person in this new way, then it means I have to leave everything from my past behind, but that may not necessarily be the case. Let's go ahead and take a look at these ones. So there was very sudden, this is awesome. The garden comes up in the house of the scythe, which just says it's all very sudden and unexpected. The garden actually can just literally mean a meeting, and because it does have this return from someone in your past, suddenly you meet someone from your past out of the blue, out of nowhere. The child comes up where there was mice, so in the area that you at one point felt like everything was being eaten and taken away, you felt loss, and like you didn't have what you really wanted. Now you have a fresh perspective, and now you do. It's really quite a turnaround. Flowers come up in the house of the flowers, so what can I say? It's a real gift. The flowers have this incredible, beautiful, creative energy. Everything is beautiful, lovely, and good, and desirable. And the road is in the house of the sun, so whatever this decision you have to make in, it's in an area in your life that, or in a way it will come in that it will be really good. Like, you're going to make the right decisions. You have all of the information that you need. Whatever way you go is going to be, you're just going to know. Like, the sun brings clarity, and that bright light of the sunlight really helps you see things for the truth in the way it really is. That will help you know exactly what way to go. And then the ring comes up in the house of the anchor, which is about stability and, something you feel very strongly about and very sure it's not going anywhere. I feel like whatever, like if you are making a decision about some kind of commitments and you realize you really need to make a change, it's going to be a change you're going to, once you make it, you're just going in that direction, and there's like kind of no turning back. So but you're going to feel very confident about it. The anchor is very, very positive card in that way. Like, there's a lot of confidence behind that. So, there was so much in this spread. I don't know how much, more questions you might have about actions and outcomes, but stay tuned here to the end, because maybe you'll be drawn to watch one of them and, going into your heart and asking it, which of these 4 videos at the end that are attached right here in a moment are going to have the most pertinent information for me at this time. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around my channel, and we will see you next week.